After a 99-day lockout, baseball is back. Players are on the field. Spring training games got started yesterday. It's a beautiful sight. The sounds of summer are coming, folks. DraftKings contributor Steve Buchanan's here with Rotowire's Erik Halterman to break down the latest moves and their fantasy and sports betting impact. Bukes, it's been a few days since we've had a chance to talk about this stuff. Some big moves this week, obviously. Freddie Freeman to the Dodgers, because, of course, unlimited money there after a long stay in Atlanta. You have Chris Bryant. Fat deal from the Rockies, don't really know their direction. Matt Chapman landed in Toronto. Which player's fantasy potential increased the most?
You know, from a fantasy perspective, Bryant playing half of his games in Coors Field can't be overlooked. But over the course of the entire year, the move for Olsen over to Toronto can't be overstated. I mean, they're getting a Gold Glove caliber first baseman over there, somebody who's going to be in a really good lineup. I mean, we could say he was in an okay lineup, maybe an average at best lineup in Oakland. He is going to be surrounded by prolific hitters over in Toronto. And this is somebody who was hitting close to 40 home runs a year over in the AL West. Now he's going over to the very hitter-friendly AL East and everybody, all those parts that they have there. He's going to be approaching 50 home runs this season. I think overall, I think he's the guy.
Erik, is it Bryant for you as well or somebody else?
I mean, Bryant has to be the low-hanging fruit, right? I don't know why the Rockies thought they were one Chris Bryant away from contention, although I'm never going to get mad at a team for making moves in that direction. We all know how hitter-friendly Coors Field is. I think there's not too much detailed analysis we need to do there. His stock goes way up. Another one, though, that we should mention that you didn't touch on is Kyle Schwarber moving to Philadelphia. It's not quite Coors Field, but it's a top 5 hitters park, and it's a pretty good lineup, at least at the top. Hitting near guys like Bryce Harper and JT Realmuto, and now maybe Nick Castellanos, according to some rumors. Apparently the Phillies thought that Kyle Schwarber wasn't enough bat, and they don't actually decide to ever add defense, so they might just add another Kyle Schwarber. If that's the case, all those Phillies hitters look quite good.
How do these moves, Erik, impact some of the clubs that lost a player, and obviously their sportsbook markets? For instance, are you more likely to maybe fade Austin Riley's 31.5 homer total or fade all the A's markets now that Oakland lost Marte and Chapman and Olsen?
I wouldn't really touch the homers because those are pretty much an individual stat. Obviously, if your team's offense is so bad that you don't get to come to the plate as often, sure, but I don't think Atlanta's going to be very different now that Matt Olson's in there instead of Freddie Freeman. Not a very significant change there. I would fade the A's, except the problem with that is there are no A's. Last I checked on the DraftKings Sportsbook, there are no A's hitters that you can take homer or RBI bets. I don't think there's any for hits either. I mean, nobody out there is excited to bet on Chad Pinder, I guess. I can't imagine why. You could certainly fade the A's pitchers in wins, except the issue there is the A's pitchers may not be A's pitchers for very long. I mean, they're tearing down everything. So I guess it's a bit of a hit to Frankie Montas and Sean Manaea, but I can't say I'm more than 60% sure that they'll be A's by opening day, let alone the trade deadline.
Bukes, obviously same question, but I'll add to that. I mean, are there just some bets affected for players that lost key personnel this offseason that really jump out at you?
Well, the thing that about the A's is that, you probably missed a ship on that already. On Monday, their win total for the season was set at 79.5. It's down to 71.5. I mean, that's a massive move there. We're talking about, close to 10-game difference in the span of a week that we're talking about here. So you most likely missed the boat on that one there. And just talking about those A's pitchers, we don't even know who's going to be on this team come the All-Star break. We've already heard trade rumors for Montas. We've already heard trade rumors for Sean Manaea. These guys are going to be out the door. This team is in a rebuilding mode. The A's are now last in the odds to win the AL West division. They're not going to be anywhere close there, but this is a team that was in third at the beginning of the week. All these moves have just absolutely decimated their markets there, so fading everything to do with the A's is the play, but quite frankly, that ship has sailed already.
Most of the significant player movement, Bukes, this offseason has happened in the batter's box, whether before the lockout or since. All due respect to the Max Scherzers of the world. But let's talk pitching. Any movement that's changed your thoughts on Cy Young futures?
Yeah, I mean, quite frankly, I look at the numbers for Lucas Giolito, and the White Sox haven't been overly busy, but he's someone that I think at 11-1 odds is a really strong play in the Cy Young department. He had a couple of rough starts during the season. That one in Boston on Patriots Day, the Detroit Tigers of all teams roughed him up a couple of times. But this is someone who strikes out over a batter an inning, doesn't walk a lot of guys, doesn't give up a lot of home runs, and we project another strong season from the White Sox. They are the most resounding favorite to win their division in the American League. I believe it's minus 210 coming into today. So you have someone like Lucas Giolito who should be atop of their rotation there in a division that isn't overly strong. That AL Central division is not strong by any means. Yes, some teams have made some moves. The Twins made some moves. The Tigers made some moves, but the White Sox should be able to dominate that division once again. That should be some good things for Lucas Giolito. So look at him for 11-1. I think those are some pretty strong odds there.
Erik, Matt Chapman, who we were talking about before, he's a hell of a defender. Could that lead you to maybe sprinkle a little bit on Gossman plus 1,800, Berrios plus 2,000? What do you think?
I could definitely see the logic there. I don't think those guys are steals at their prices, but I think they're perfectly fairly priced. I think both of those guys are very solid mid-range options. If you're looking a little cheaper, sticking with the White Sox, Michael Kopech, we know he's got the stuff to win one day. If you could get Michael Kopech 2024 Cy Young odds or something, I'd be very interested in that now. I don't know if he'll have the innings this year after throwing just 69.1 last season, mostly in relief, but he's got the stuff if you want a long shot. And the guy who seems the most exciting to me is Julio Urias at plus 3,500. I just don't know why he's in that range. He's just far more talented than most of the guys you're finding in the plus 3,500 range. I think a plus 2,000-ish would seem much fairer for him. Had a 2.96 ERA last year. No innings concerns. He made 32 starts. And, of course, with the Dodgers signing Freddie Freeman and having, a lineup that some people are talking about as one of the best we've ever seen in baseball history, he's going to get the wins that some voters still care about. So I think he's probably the biggest value in either league right now.
The Rangers were big spenders way back in December for anybody that can remember, Erik. They're plus 10,000 after the Semien and Seager signings. Don't have any Cy Young candidates on the roster, so I realize that's not going to help out the offense, obviously. But, are Texas odds longer than you would expect? I'm looking here at the DraftKings sportsbook. The wins total, it's 74.5.
Yeah, I love what the Rangers did. I think teams should be saying, you know what, we're just going to move in the right direction now, and we're going to make a lot of moves in that direction. Good for them. They needed two off seasons like this to really get in contention. Plus 10,000 is what, a 1% implied odds. If you look at the playoff odds at Fangraphs and Baseball Prospectus, they're at 0.1% and 0.0%. So according to that, they're still, being treated better than they are. The Cubs are kind of similar. The Cubs didn't add quite as many big names, but Marcus Stroman and Seiya Suzuki, who I think is quite a big addition, they're also at the same plus 10,000. And again, Fangraphs Baseball Prospectus think that they're 0.2%, 0.1% likely. But both of those teams, the way that playoff odds really work is they're showing your roster now, but if either of those teams is in the mix come the trade deadline, they're going to add pieces, and it's going to be a better roster than they are right now. So if you like very long shots, again, I don't think it's likely that either of those two teams wins, but I think both of them are equally interesting at the very bottom of the board.
Bukes, I know there's no team in the AL West you love more than Seattle, but do you have any respect for Texas?
Look, Texas is going to score maybe 8 runs a game. They're going to give up about 19 runs a game with that pitching staff. When John Gray is the anchor of your rotation, you still got a long way to go, buddy. There's still a lot of pitchers that need to be, brought into this team to become competitive. The Mariners at plus 450, that's just a sham, okay? The reason that the Angels are in front of them is downright disrespectful. So I will happily take plus 450 for the Mariners. Quite frankly, I already got them at 6-1 when Oakland was, quote-unquote, still in contention. So we're doing good over here. But the Mariners, the third best odds to win that division is absolutely atrocious. They have all these new players on that team, some serious power. They brought in the reigning Cy Young Award winner Robbie Ray, who's probably going to win it 5 times in a row now in Seattle. And they still have a plethora of prospects who are major league ready and haven't even taken the field yet. So right now at plus 450 for the Mariners, you missed 6-1. That's okay. Still got some good odds to take at plus 450. That's the team you're going to take right now.
Do you have an M's tattoo yet?
No.
All right. Soon.